Hey, Battle Built here with another video, and today we're getting some more Season 6 Great League Go Battle League battles. So, you might have noticed from the past couple of videos, I did a feature on Chestnut, I did another feature on Delphox. I wonder what third Pokemon I'll be featuring in today's video. You might have guessed it right, plus you probably saw the title in the thumbnail. We're going to be featuring Greninja and see how it performs in some Season 6 Great League Go Battle League battles and how it stacks up against the current meta. Now, not only are we featuring Greninja, but we're running it with my current favorite Generation 6 Pokemon Diggersby and with a lead of Shadow Mawile. Now, these battles aren't from myself. Shout out to Magate Vegito for submitting this set of battles. This team looks extremely hyped, and I cannot wait to shoutcast these battles and watch them with you. So if you're hyped to see some Greninja action along with some spice action, this team is looking like a lot of fun. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump into these battles. Now, you might not be able to see it because for whatever reason, with the way Go Battle League's been, the first battle of every set always has those blank white squares for the rank. But these are some rank 12 battles. These submissions were sent to me probably a couple days ago, so that was pretty much around the time where most people were at rank 12. So this is like top of the competition battles. Don't just see the rank 12 and assume that these are some below level just because we're a couple days in the future after these battles have taken place, and a lot of people are around that rank 16, 17 level. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, this first battle, getting a little bit of stress seeing that weak connection, but he had a somewhat decent lead. I'm assuming Shadow Mawile wins that lead considering the Altaria swapped out. They swapped into an Alolan Marowak, which would have countered the Shadow Mawile well, but he has two great counters for it in the back, one of them being Diggersby, which is what he came in with here, threw an Earthquake, got his opponent shield, and honestly, there's really not much this Alolan Marowak can do against Diggersby. It's going to have to spam a bunch of Bone Clubs, and those tickle Diggersby, because any Ghost move is going to be double resisted. We've gone through this. This is probably the third video you're seeing from me that has Diggersby in it. We've talked a bunch about its ground and normal typing, and even though Alolan Marowak's going to get another Bone Club through here, they're really not doing enough, even with the Fire Spins, to threaten the Diggersby. The only way his opponent has any type of chance in this battle is if they decide to shield another Earthquake and go down 2 shields and no shields. They didn't. It goes through. It wipes out the Alolan Marowak. They come in with the Whiscash, and the Whiscash was looking to almost farm down, but realized it was not going to be able to. Has to go for the Mud Bomb to take out the Diggersby here, because Diggersby would have gotten to another Earthquake. It's such a beast. Now, I don't know the stat breakdown of Magate Vegito's Diggersby. I do want to assume, just based on how rare these XL candies are, this is probably a level 40 Diggersby also, but I'm sure Magate Vegito will be somewhere in the comment section to clarify the level of his Diggersby. So, now we have Greninja on Whiscash, and this is quite the matchup. We're seeing Greninja in action for the first time here in this battle. Let's see how well it does against a Mud Bomb. It is quite glassy. That Mud Bomb hurt way more than you definitely prefer, but let's see if he's going to shield. He's going to shield the Greninja, commit to it. He has to, because Whiscash would counter the Shadow Mawile pretty well. But he does get to these charge moves relatively quickly with Bubble, and because it's so glassy, these attacks are going to do a bit more damage to make up for it. On top of the fact, he just got an attack boost there. So now Night Slash giving that attack boost on Greninja. Do you shield here? He does shield. He's going to commit to the Greninja in this situation. Is he going to commit to the bubble down? Will he be able to do it? He gets the bubble down because those bubbles are doing so much more extra damage. The Altaria is going to come in. He's going to throw this Night Slash because it's boosted. It's going to do a nice little extra chunk of damage to the Altaria than it usually would have. And what you have to keep in mind, wow, that's a lot of damage. What you have to keep in mind is that Greninja is a water and dark type Pokemon. So it getting access to a quick move of Bubble isn't that bad. Bubble does a nice amount of damage, like I would say an average amount, on top of generating energy at an average pace. It's just a very average move. But Night Slash and Surf are nice cheap charge moves that Greninja is able to spam off, and with Greninja's high attack, it makes those moves do a lot more damage than you would expect. So he's able to take game 1 there. So far, I'm pretty impressed with Greninja right off the bat, but it was set up for success because he had a positive lead. Diggersby counters Alolan Marowak really well, and Greninja was able to have a shield advantage against Whiscash. So let's see how the rest of these matchups play out. Well, he's got a Shadow Mawile on, a Bastiodon lead, and he decides to safe swap into Greninja. I'm not sure the complete logic on this play. Maybe he assumed Grass Hole and was like, you know what, let's sacrifice Greninja. It's not going to be of much use here. That Night Slash, oh my lord, that wasn't a boosted Night Slash. That did so much damage to the Shadow Victory Bell. And he's probably going to come into Shadow Mawile here. Yeah, that makes the most sense. You don't want Diggersby getting Razor Leafed. And he's probably going to Fire Fang down, obviously, so you could build up a little bit of extra energy to then start ramping up some power-up punches, because that Bastiodon's definitely going to come back in. Those weak connections in that spinning ball in the top left corner is really giving me some anxiety watching these battles. But regardless, Shadow Mawile performs very well against Grasshole. I'm pretty confident if you check on PvP Poke, it has positive matchups against all 3 Pokemon. And with the Power Up Punch doing double super effective damage to Bastiodon, as long as he shields these flamethrowers that are going to come through, the Fire Fangs are really going to add up. And as that was a Stone Edge, that should not have been a Stone Edge. But these Fire Fangs are going to add up, and the pups are going to continue to do increased damage. But he decides to swap again. I wonder why he's not just committing to Shadow Mawile. I'm curious to see if they're running the double Razor Leaf Grasshole version of this team, considering they're throwing their charge move with Bastiodon that's going to tickle Diggersby, did literally no damage, and they're running a different version. But Shadow Mawile would have slaughtered this Melmetal also. But regardless, Diggersby has a great matchup here. Yes, Melmetal has access to Superpower, which would be super effective because of Diggersby's normal typing, but Diggersby is a tank. So even if he lets this Superpower go through, which it looks like he's going to do, oh my god, they tried to bait with the Rock Slide. That was a huge mistake by their opponent. But regardless, Diggersby would have been able to survive that Superpower, and the Thunder Shocks are double resistant because of the ground typing. He gets off an Earthquake, the Melmetal doesn't shield. This is GG. Diggersby is absolutely slaughtering here. And this match didn't really feature Greninja too much. It just goes and puts an emphasis on how great of a Pokemon Diggersby is in some Go Battle League action. What I will say Greninja did well in that last match was it lured out the Razor Leafer so Diggersby could succeed. So that ended up working out pretty well for him. And honestly, even if it was double Razor Leafer, Diggersby would have spammed a bunch of Fire Punches, and I'm pretty sure Shadow Mawile would have cleaned up in that match regardless of it being Melmetal or another Razor Leafer. Now, getting to this third match, he has an insane lead against the Galvantula, which he's absolutely chunking away at. Yeah, it kind of makes sense to me to want to shield that, even though it's going to be resisted, and it wasn't the Discharge, which it could have been, which would have hurt the Shadow Mawile quite a bit, just because of the fact that Shadow Mawile was literally able to Fire Fang the Galvantula down. What is this team? I don't know if we're going to be looking at too much Greninja action here, because Shadow Mawile is not going off. Diggersby went off in the last match. Their counter to a Shadow Mawile ended up being a Superior. Not even their counter, it was a Pokemon they brought in after their Galvantula got absolutely slaughtered. So he is now going to commit to the Shadow Mawile. Completely agree with that logic. Honestly, I probably would have thrown the pup by now. I guess maybe wants to bluff and bait that he's going to go for the big move, but the Fire Fangs are going to do all the damage here. He does get a shield, so you know what? That worked itself out. Oh my lord, look at how much those Fire Fangs are doing. He got both shields, slaughtered the Galvantula, slaughtered the Superior. I want to know what their third Pokemon is that they didn't bring it in against the Shadow Mawile. Now, he does have to go with the Diggersby here just because at least Diggersby has access to Fire Punch, whereas Greninja would take a lot of damage from the Vine Whips and a potential charge move that Superior would have gotten to. And their last Pokemon is a Piloswine. Oh my lord, what are we looking at here? This is quite the match. A team triple weak to Fire, a team triple weak to Shadow Mawile. This Diggersby is going to absolutely get crushed by that Avalanche. And now he's going to have to go into Greninja, but I'm sure as long as he gets to the charge move, this Surf will one-shot the Piloswine, because Piloswine is a pretty glassy Pokemon in some Great League play. You don't really see it too often, and Greninja is able to take it out with its Surf. I don't know, I just love that Greninja has that pose. So Greninja came in clutch there just because I forgot his Diggersby didn't have a shield, and since Piloswine gets to its charge move so quickly, it was able to land that Avalanche and do it quite a chunk because of its attack weighted stat product. Now, getting into the fourth match of this day, he's got a Fire Fang Mawile on a Lapras lead, and I don't think this is the most positive lead. The Surfs are going to come through and do quite a bit to the Lapras. These Fire Fangs are adding up, and they are doing neutral damage because Lapras is Ice and Water typing, and this Power Punch will be super effective. It got a shield. Oh my lord, I can't believe that got a shield, especially the first one. But let's see what Vegito decides to do here. He decides to Surf, ends up being an Ice Beam. Why would you throw the Ice Beam? What is your moveset that was your play? They swap into an Alolan Marowak here, and he's got a great answer for it in Diggersby. Greninja would also be a great answer in this situation, and I'm quite curious to see what his opponent's going to try to do to play out of this. Shadow Bone, double resisted. So many people seem to only look at the ground typing when they see Diggersby and completely forget it's a normal type. I've been Shadow Boned so many times by Alolan Marowaks when I'm using my Diggersby. It's such a great feeling to watch my opponents consistently make that mistake over and over again. Now, they're getting to another charge move here. He threw the Earthquake before and got his opponent's shield. He'll be able to survive this no problem. They're just, I guess they're hoping for the defense debuff. That's got to be the logic on why they're throwing Shadow Bones. But regardless, he's going to overfarm, get greedy. Don't blame him at all. Another charge move's going to come through. This will either be a Bone Club or another Shadow Bone, which we've already seen do no damage to Diggersby. And he's going to be able to get off this Earthquake now, but his opponent swaps. It's a good swap, but this Earthquake is still going to hurt Venusaur because it will deal some neutral damage, and it puts the Venusaur all the way in the yellow. But now he can come back into a Shadow Mawile. It's a Razor Leaf Venusaur. He's able to Fire Fang it completely down, and then the Alolan Marowak comes in. He goes for the Iron Head right away. I wonder if his switch timer was up. He might have been able to get into Greninja and bubble down, but I guess, you know, just get the guaranteed damage off, try to take out the Alolan Marowak. Unfortunately, was not able to with that Iron Head, but the following Fire Fangs were, and his opponent now comes back into the Lapras. So the question is, a Greninja with full health and a shield, can it beat this Lapras? I'm pretty confident it will be, just because they're running Ice Beam. I doubt their other move is Skull Bash, and I'm assuming their other move has to be Surf, which would be also resisted by Greninja. Ice Beam, even though it was resisted, did do about like a half to about a third of Greninja's health, just to show how glassy Greninja is. But this Night Slash that's going to go through is doing a solid chunk. One more bubble takes out the Lapras, and he wins his 4th match of this set. Absolutely slaughtering with this team of 3. These have been quite the matches. You could definitely get a feel for how Greninja's going to play as the Glass Cannon type in some Great League battles. But overall, this team of 3 has just been a lot of fun to watch. What is this lead? What are these Pokemon that he's going up against? He's got a Shadow Mawile on a Dusclops lead. It's a purified Dusclops. I wonder if they're running Return on this. Probably not. Probably Fire Punch and Shadow Punch. He lets a first charge move go through. It is a Fire Punch. Does a good chunk to his Shadow Mawile, and he's staying in this lead, going straight for the Iron Head. The question becomes, does his opponent think this is going to be a Power Punch bait, which would be double resisted, or are they going to call the Iron Head? They don't call it. It does a huge chunk to the Dusclops. Now, do you want to shield this? Nope, not going to shield it. Okay, I was going to say you can shield it, go for the Fire Fang down, and then win out lead, but instead he decides to let Mawile go down, comes into Greninja to bubble down the Dusclops, get an energy advantage because those Hexes were resisted, doing no damage to Greninja. So the question becomes, what does his opponent come in with to try and deal with Greninja with an energy advantage? They are tied at 2 shields apiece. They come in with an Azumarill, so this match is not looking great because his back line is definitely weak to Azumarill. His only real Pokemon that could put in some sort of work, honestly, this team of 3 might struggle against Azumarill in general just because of the fact that Diggersby doesn't have a positive matchup against it, can land some Earthquakes and put in work. It's closer than you would think based on the typings, and then Greninja's issue is it being a dark type, taking super effective damage from those play roughs, and then all the moves Greninja would throw at an Azumarill would be resisted. So his best bet, I guess, would be to have Fire Fang Mawile go in and throw resisted Fire Fangs and land some Iron Heads, but this team is pretty weak against Azumarill, so that is one concern about it. But it is also a Spice team, so you know you're going to have your weaknesses here and there. The question is, will he be able to play around it? He was able to call both play roughs. He's definitely over-farming quite a bit here, and he's got at least like 2.5 Night Slashes, so he's going to throw one here. Hopefully he can get a boost, because if he can get the next one to threaten a potential shield, because he still hasn't gotten an Azumarill shield, his opponent is definitely going to let the Azumarill go down at this pace. The Azumarill's super low. Another Night Slash finally gets his opponent's shield. He decides to swap. His opponent's last Pokemon is a Bug Bite Burmy. Oh my lord. What? These Fire Punches are going to destroy, and this is not the Burmy, this is the Wormadam. Sorry. Wormadam is the evolution of it. I was in too much shock just seeing these teams of 3 that he's been going up against with this team. These Fire Punches get the next shield, and honestly, I don't think this Wormadam is going to be able to do much. You could throw an Iron Head. I think Bug Buzz, I think ground resists Bug, so you want to go for the Iron Head here. Right. That's not very effective. No, it's neutral. Okay, I don't know my typings. What else is new? Bug Buzz does a decent amount, but Diggersby is just so tanky, so he's still able to overfarm, get to this Fire Punch, take out the Wormadam, and then I'm assuming the Azumarill is going to come in. The question is, does the Azumarill bubble down in time? No, he can. Ooh, CMP tie. CMP tie, how much energy does that Greninja have? Would the Fire Punch have been enough there? I feel like it probably would have. So they're running Play Rough Hydro Pump because you definitely didn't need to throw the full Play Rough there in that situation. Could have went for the cheaper Ice Beam. But regardless, the Greninja gets to the Night Slash, Is it going to take out the Azumarill? It does take out that last chunk of health, and I guess we could say that, you know, Greninja is an Azumarill counter confirmed. I'm joking. He was able to play around that Azumarill weakness, but his opponent was running some very unique Pokemon around that Azumarill. So that's a 5-0 set though. Now, those matchups were quite the spice matchups, and I don't think they necessarily got to show off Greninja's ability. So I included one bonus match here where he had changed his team and changed the lead from Shadow Mawile to Skarmory, which I think would give him better play against potential Azumarills. And in this match, it really highlights how well Greninja can perform in the Great League meta. So he has a Skarmory and a Alolan Marowak lead there. He loses lead, he safe swaps into Diggersby, and his opponent lets him build all the way up to an Earthquake and then pulls a safe swap into what's going to be a Shadow Gardevoir, which his opponent's going to have to shield that Earthquake regardless, just because of the fact Shadow Gardevoir is so glassy. You can see these charms are adding up, but Diggersby is such a tank that it's definitely surviving more charms than most other Pokemon would from a Shadow Gardevoir. He gets off that Fire Punch, gets his opponent's last shield, which is going to be huge here. Overfarms a bit, gets off a second Fire Punch, which will do a nice amount of chip damage to the Gardevoir, but he's not going to be able to win Switch as much as he does have a 2-shield to no shield advantage here. So the question is going to be, with this shield advantage, is Greninja going to be able to handle the Alolan Marowak in the back and whatever his opponent's third Pokemon is? The Gardevoir is going for a charge move here. It's going to be a Shadow Ball. He decides not to shield a Shadow Gardevoir Shadow Ball. That does a huge chunk to his Skarmory, so this match is really on Greninja because Skarmory's not going to be able to do anything when that Alolan Marowak comes back in. So he's already clicking on Greninja. He wants to swap into it immediately. They come in with a Galarian Stunfisk. So this is the perfect situation for Greninja to go off. He gets all the way to a Surf here, which is going to deal super effective damage to the Galarian Stunfisk. And the question is, how much damage is it really going to do? That is a lot for a Surf. That is a lot of damage for a Surf. Surf doesn't typically do that much damage, even when dealing super effective damage, just because Greninja's attack stat is so high in Great League. But because it's so glassy, it definitely had the shield there. He was committing to the bubble down. Another charge was going to come through. It's going to be another Rock Slide. He's definitely going to want to shield here, mostly because the Alolan Marowak is what's in the back, and Greninja would resist any potential Ghost moves. Now, Alolan Marowak's getting to another charge move. Is this going to be a Bone Club, or is it going to be a Shadow Ball? It's a resisted Shadow Ball, but you see how much that hurt because Greninja is so glassy. What I do think was a slight mistake here was Surf was the better damage, and I think if you went for Surf, it would have taken out the Alolan Marowak from its current health, whereas that Night Slash just barely doesn't, so then he has to throw another Night Slash, which allows another Fire Spin to go through, which does a little bit more damage to the Greninja. But that Galarian Stunfisk is practically dead. He gets off another bubble, and Greninja was able to close out that match and sweep his back line. So honestly, I was super excited watching all these battles. There were definitely some spice matchups in them, but I think there was still a lot of value in watching the team of 3 that he put together still go off in some Great League, Go Battle League action. Magate Vegito, thank you so much for the submission. I really enjoyed shoutcasting those battles. They looked like a lot of fun. They had me really excited to get my own Greninja and start testing it out in some Great League Go Battle League battles. Greninja is definitely a glassy Pokemon, but if you protect it well, it can really go off to close out some matches. Now, those might not have been the most meta battles in the world, but there was definitely still a lot of value to take away from certain situations that we watched throughout the video. Let me know what your thoughts were on the battles and on Greninja, and maybe what other teams of 3 you'd put around Greninja to have some success in Go Battle League. Other than that, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.